Gigi Berardi here, reading on FoodWISE from my book, and I will talk about a few newspaper articles when I'm done, but this will be a discussion in the context of information overload, and then ending with a question about who to believe in this very serious information overload regime that we've got right now. All right, so I continue with whole food tonight and introduce something about bread, and I will continue with that, bread and flour, tomorrow night, bringing it close to home where I live in Western Washington. So tonight, the section starts whole from start to finish. What is whole food, in quotes? Again, it's easy to understand how a fresh carrot from your garden, for example, is whole. You've pulled it from the ground, washed off the soil, and it's ready to go. No post-harvest processing is necessary, and like all the best whole foods, this carrot remains in its natural, non-manufactured state. It has not had any substances, particularly chemical compounds such as preservatives, added to it in processing. If you employ organic practices in your home garden, probably no synthetic chemicals went into growing it either. But whole food eaters don't have to limit themselves to raw carrots straight from the garden. Whole also includes foods that come from animals. Any foods that, while they were growing, had few substantive changes made to their natural state. Here, though, things start getting complicated. After all, few, substantive, and natural are ambiguous terms. The concept of whole in its strictest form simply can't apply to all foods. Certain foods require some processing to improve their digestibility, or the addition of naturally occurring substances to make them into the food we want to consume. Adding yeast and allowing rising time to create fermented bread, for instance, gives us a less chewy starch that's still crafted, mostly from whole foods, and needs only a few ingredients. My favorite Tassajara bread book recipe, see Part 4 recipes, has served me well for over 30 years. I might get carried away with ingredients, molasses and dried fruit, milk, oats, and cornmeal, and wheat berries, nuts, apples, but those ingredients are themselves whole and a lot fewer than the 20 or more I read on a grocery package. Yes, even for breads found in a store's natural food section. Minerals and vitamins, canola and or soy oil, distilled vinegar, dough conditioners, right down to components like azodicarbonamide and monocalcium phosphate. Calcium propionate is a mold inhibitor, isn't it? What does defatted soy flour mean? Yes, I know that ascorbic acid is a famous water-soluble vitamin. Calcium sulfate is a source of calcium, and non-fat dry milk means added protein. But do I need the extra protein? And how does it stack up against those whole food seeds I throw into my homemade bread? All right, so in the description of this video, I have 2 links for you, and they just illustrate what we're going through right now. And I have been showcasing some articles, but they are conflicting, the articles that I've showcased in this video series so far. So tonight, we have an article from the UK saying that supply chains are not a problem. We are not going to run out of food. And then there's another article that is clearly showing that our supply basically is being impacted by coronavirus. And really this just brings up the question, who do you believe? And I've been judiciously commenting on these articles without coming down on one side or another. But I will say it's really frustrating right now. And so I would just recommend that we go back to the WISE acronym: whole, informed, sustainable, and experience, and use the lens of, in particular, sustainability and experience to question the motivation and the credibility of people who are writing. And then I ask, so how long is this going to last? And I think it's going to last a long time. So I'm looking for information. I'm looking for articles that are trying to give projections. What and if situations? I want to know. They're hard to find.